Hello students, welcome to my channel Essential English with Ridvan. I'm so excited to teach you the present simple tense in today's video. Let's get started. Now let's focus on the tense that we are working on today, which is present simple. How does it sound? How does it actually work? So, just repeat after me. I read, I like, I work, he reads, he likes, he works. Have you noticed the difference between the first part and the second part? Okay, let's move on. I'll give you some explanation. Simple present verbs have two forms. Which form do we use? That depends on the subject of the sentence. Subjects can be pronoun or subjects can be nouns. We use a base verb when the subject pronoun is I, we, you, they. You see, I read, we read, you like, they watch, you do, they have. We use verb plus s like that when the subject pronoun is he, she, it. It when the subject is a singular. Let's look at how to form the present simple tense. I work in a shop. With I, we, you, they, we use base form of the verb. So, I work in a shop. My brother works in a bank. Not my brother work. Why? My brother is he. So, with he we use verb plus s. Works. Lucy lives in London. Her parents live in Scotland. Lucy, the proper pronoun for Lucy is she. So we use live plus s. Lucy lives in London. Her parents, it's plural, they. So live in Scotland. It rains a lot in winter. With it we use verb plus s. So it rains a lot in winter. The most important thing to remember here is this part. I, we, you, they, we always use base form of the verb. Repeat after me. I read, we like, but with he, she, it, we always use verb plus s. This is the only one place in the entire English grammar in present simple where we are adding an s to the verb itself with he, she, it. Okay, let's move on to the part 2. It's the part 2. You see, after s, sh, ch, and x, we have to add es, not s. If the verb ends with s, sh, ch, and x. So fix becomes fixes. Pass becomes passes. Finish becomes finishes. Watch becomes watches. If the verb ended y, we should drop y and add ies. Study, studies. You see here? Try, tries. Also some irregular verbs. Do becomes does. Go becomes goes. Goes. Let's move on to the next part. Now, let's look at when they use present simple tense, okay? So we have 5 different situations in which we can use this tense. Let's go through them by one. First of all, we can use present simple tense to talk about things which are permanent. And you see also here, we use present simple for things that are true in general, or for things that happen sometimes or all the time. Let's look at first sentence. I like big cities. We live in New York. She works at a bank. So, let's suppose that this is where you live, right? Not just for a short time, but for a long time. And more or less, it's a permanent situation. I live in big cities. For example, I live in New York. We live in New York. It doesn't mean it's completely true always, but most of the time, this is where you live. Maybe 7 years I live in New York. So I can say I live in New York. She works at a bank. It means that's his permanent, that's her permanent job, regular job, okay? It's not temporary job. It's not for 2 months. I don't know how long I will work at a bank. For example, Capital Bank. I don't know, but for now, I work at a bank. She works at a bank. And it maybe lasts 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. She doesn't know. Right now she works at a bank. Yesterday she worked, now she works, and in the future she will work. So let's move on to the next sentence. Your English is good. You speak very well. We do a lot of different things in our free time. Okay, think about yourself. Whenever you're trying to learn a tense, one of the great things you can do is to think of an example that applies to your life or to people that you know. For example, your English is good. Generally, your English is good. You speak very well. Generally, you speak very well. Not right now. We do a lot of different things in our free time. Generally, we do a lot of different things in our free time. Let's look at another situation in which we can use present simple tense. Here, Tom works very hard. He starts at 7:30 and finishes at 8 o'clock in the evening. So, it's routine. What's a routine? A routine is something we do regularly. Tom works very hard. He starts at 7:30 every day and finishes at 8 o'clock every day. So, and with verbs work, start, finish, these verbs are in the present simple tense because they are talking about a regular activity, a routine. We can also use this tense to talk about facts, present simple. For example, the earth goes around the sun. It's a fact. It's something that's a scientific truth. It is not something that I decided or you decided. It's just true. We could say the sun rises in the east, the sun sets in the west. It's true. Next, we can use this tense to talk about schedules, because think about it. What's a schedule? Schedule tells us when something is going to happen. And for example, we could say our class starts at 9 o'clock, or the flight leaves at noon. Not just this time, but the flight always leaves at noon. Not this time our class starts at 9 o'clock. Our class always starts at 9 o'clock. So that means we must use present simple tense to describe the situation. Let's move on to part 3. There are some words in English that are called adverbs of frequency. never, rarely, sometimes, often, usually, always to describe how often something is happening. And these words are shown down here. And let's look at this sentence first. Sue always gets to work early, not Sue gets always. We should put adverbs of frequency before the main verb and after a subject. So always is a word that tells us how often something happens, and all of these words down here are just like that. So if always is like 100% of the time, we have our word never, which is 0% of it never happens. It doesn't happen at all. So we could say Sue always gets to work early, 100%. I never eat breakfast, 0%. We could also say sometimes, let's say 50% of probability, sometimes. I sometimes walk to work, but not very often. And finally, if something happens rarely, 10-20% of probability of the time. We usually use rarely. I rarely drink a cup of coffee or a cup of coffee. 10-20% of that I drink a cup of coffee. Most of them, for example, I drink a cup of tea, maybe a glass of lemonade. So that was the part 3. I know you're a serious student. I know you are going to make good progress. So be sure to check out my other videos in order to repeat the other English rules or learn some new ones. Enjoy learning English, and please do subscribe my channel. Hit the subscribe button if you didn't do that already, so you don't miss out on future content. Don't forget to like the video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.